So you might be wondering, why are there zombies? Well, Cook tells you that she has a file in her office, which only Bates can look at, of course, and it's all done by the cerebral toxin. I'll give you a synopsis of what it is.
Glow. You feel no pain on that shit. You're like a goddamn Superman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's the actual synopsis.
The T-virus was developed as a biological weapon, proliferating amongst the unsuspecting public. It metamorphosed them into living death zombies.
No, I'm not kidding. And the report doesn't try to hide it. It explicitly tells you that it turns people into zombies.
Brain stop functioning.
Unlike Umbrella, who planned on using the T-virus as a basis to manufacture biological weapons, the Memorial Pharmaceuticals Research Lab, or rather as we later learned, George Maxwell himself, made this because, Capcom did it, so why not them too? Oh, and this zombie is a pain to fight. Since she never goes down unless you shoot the weak point, which, since now you know about the cerebral toxin, you can shoot the parasitic brain. And the foot. Moving on. Oh, and there was a shotgun here. Except I got a pistol, and shotguns are better, so... why you get rid of that pistol? Seriously, I cannot get rid of this gun. Even though the shotgun is obviously the better weapon in this game. Hey, look! It's a shotgun I can get! Oh. I got this pistol I can't put down. Stupid weapon. Logic. Now, where do I go? No, really, I'm lost here. I've been here for 2 hours now. This nurse is dead! Where do I go? This doctor kills me! What do I do? What do I do? No, seriously, I'm going from room to room, no zombies size 1 randomly showing up, no other items size of respawning guns and first aid kits. What do I do? I've explored every area, inspected every object, and this is where I stop caring for a few minutes and look up game facts. You know your game can't be good if you need a walkthrough to finish it, let alone avoid the bad endings. Oh, what was so important about that anyway? Oh yeah, you examine certain unimportant, almost ill-symbolic objects in order to progress. Should have figured! And guess what? You then have to go back to the doctor, who instantly kills Alyssa every time she sees him, as suddenly now she can fight back. Sort of. Well, that makes almost as much sense as going up this Arnold Schwarzenegger guy and Dirty Harry to war against drugs. And the only way to bypass him is to switch suits, and then he won't punch you next time. So here's Shannon.
I can't forgive you. Who are you? That's not important.
Thank you for rescuing me.
Rescuing you? Only because I won't let you die so easily.
Huh?
She's kind of important, I guess. I don't know. Oh, and you find Bowman in here, assuming you haven't went on a wild goose chase all over the hospital and still found out that for whatever reason you still cannot go through the exit doors despite having a key. But I digress. He asks you if you want to go with him to the research lab. Now, this is the part of the game where the choices made by you, the player, matter the most. And by choices, I mean one choice. Still better than Operation Raccoon City.
I'm going
You
over there.
can say yes
Coming with
or
me?
nope. Except he'll always go alone regardless of what you picked, so it's kind of pointless.
Okay, well, I'll go over first. You come along later then, okay? Well, take care of yourself then. Don't get yourself killed in a place like this.
Although, if you do say yes, the next time you see him, he'd be dead. Wow, he's really dead. No, and he'll live to warn you about Maxwell, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, because I've jumped forth and back in hopes to stall the worst part of the game. The end of Chapter 2.
Let's get out of here.
But the door's locked.
Stand back!
This looks like it could be fun. Except it isn't. At first you think it's outright broken because every time you hit the action button with the cursor over the zombies, it never shoots. Hell, I even thought my controller was broken. Then you find out that you have to aim at a specific spot to even pull the trigger. Oh, and you have to shoot them in a specific order each time. That is, if you want to, win. This is the most painful mode because a lot of times it isn't responsive. And the fact that you die in one hit just makes this the most aggravating moment in the game.
You're awake. You're unconscious, and I brought you here. Hope you don't mind.
Hope you don't mind me saving your life. I mean, if you want me to leave you behind like I did one time already, I could do that. Never mind, I'm already doing that. Okay, thanks, bye. So then we explore some more, and... Hey, it's that guy from the introduction sequence. Look at him and his threatening movements and cheesy dialogue. Ain't he precious? So then we go into this room, and...
Everyone must die.
I ain't even mad. I mean, it's not like it's random. It came out of the blue. It makes no sense for that to happen. There's no reason for that to happen. It fell from the ceiling without any warning that'll happen. And the best part, you're forced to get this ending. You're forced to enter into this room, which is the furthest you can proceed, just so the random armor will fall on top of you. So guess what I have to do now? I have to start the whole game all over again. Because you want to know what I missed? I missed? Guess what? No, seriously. Take a guess. I missed this armor from the very first chapter, and you have to examine it in between encountering Stephanie and going to Michael's room. When you do, you have one extra enemy to worry about, because that makes the game fun, right? So why did point-and-click adventure games go on a major decline again? After speed running and even deciding to let the nurse live, which is kind of pointless anyway, we get to go around in a big building that is the research lab. You'll find a desk that always contains a shotgun, contrary to what Alyssa thinks, which aims at all the possible vital spots of the zombies, which makes aiming at their parasitic brains very pointless. So you'd want to get this gun to save you the trouble. Oh, and there's a handful of bad endings in here, so let's go through all of them, shall we? Oh, and Alyssa meets up with her father, Alan Hale, who is handcuffed to a pipe for some reason. He goes to the office, which he later attempts to have a talk with Maxwell, which Alyssa finds Tate, who decides to go out as well, in which Alyssa uses multiple key cards, one to open the door, one for the elevator, and finds a zombie, so you need to use a card to go back into the elevator, then another card to go back through the door so you can go through the office, to the hall, to the elevator, or to go down to the hall to use the infinite use fire extinguisher, replacing the No, don't stop. Go. So then you fight Bowman, where you get to see the ultimate payoff to letting him live. As Alyssa, you have the option to escape with him, and when you do, it just ends.
Okay, let's beat it.
Well, I'm not sure this is right.
We can't be much help.
Huh, that's quite an ending. Thanks for that. At least I didn't die this time. So you find Tate, and he realizes that there was never a curse, but a virus. Alan is a liar, and he dies. You can find a submachine gun, assuming you used up your shotgun at this point, and it's basically the same thing except you have more ammo. And you pretty much killed all the zombies, besides one at this point, so it's pretty useless. Oh, and you find Alan in the office, only when you're Bates, of course. And after a brief exchange, you get to see the conclusion to Shannon's subplot. Only if you're Alyssa, of course. Oh, right. There's a subplot where Shannon sort of helps Alyssa just to keep her alive to torture her. Except she never really does. Nor does she go out of the way to kill her either, with the exception of those two instances. And she goes on to talk about how Alyssa ruined her life. What was the payoff? She kills herself. The only hint we get to know how Alyssa ruined her life is that she is Alan's actual daughter.
You know, that would be a sufficient ending twist if it wasn't so lazily written, poorly delivered. Oh, there's one big icebreaker. I don't know, maybe if they didn't spoil it in the booklet that came with the goddamn game.
Then we meet with Alex, who also asks you if you want to escape, and the ending pretty much goes the same as Bowman's.
Is my father safe?
It's a miracle to survive.
Press on, however, and one last zombie later, I get to finally see the epic conclusion that I worked so hard for.
I envied you. Your brilliance. Your wealthy family. Everyone must die. You've gone crazy. Talking to you won't do any good. Sorry, how rude of me to forget, since I was the one who made you crazy.
Father?
You're the daughter of George Maxwell. I was jealous of this man. So to make him fall, I dug you up from the Maxwell's grave. You were the cursed child of the Maxwell family. I never thought of you as a tool to harm anyone. I infected the statue with bacteria to make him go crazy.
Father?
Goodbye, Alyssa. Hurry and leave. This building is going to blow up.
Wait, Father.
Everyone must die.
You're not my father.
Lie down.
Well, that was lame. Did I say I finally get to see the epic conclusion I worked so hard to get? I mean it exactly! I'm stupid enough to put up with this awful game and expect something good out of it. Oh, it's been a while since I've seen anything that's CG in this game. Yes, this and the intro cutscenes are the only CG cutscenes in the game, which means you can only view the ending cutscene from the ending menu. Never mind the other endings, this is the only one you're allowed to watch again and again. Were they really on a low budget or something? Huh, that actually makes sense now that I think about it. Now, when you get the best ending, you unlock a time attack and a score attack mode. Time attack is... why am I even explaining this? You shoot zombies. That's it. And if you 100% the game, that is, collect all the endings, you unlock the guide. Within it has details to all the characters and elements of the game. It has some plot holes and questionable details, such as a game openly admitting that Bates kind of has no place in this game. Alan Hale decided that instead of using Alyssa to ruin Maxwell, he had used a cerebral toxin on the statue which turns anyone who touches it to go raving mad. So it was a great idea to send it to Tate because nothing bad could come out of that, right? Right? Oh, and don't forget, it will explicitly turn you into a motherfucking zombie according to the file. But apparently it just makes you insane.
This makes sense.
Moving on. Stephanie Tate. So the soul was freed from here, but it wasn't a hallucination from Alyssa the whole fucking time? And the game claims she wasn't possessed by anything? What the fuck?
It's like they wanted to do Supernatural at first, but then about a third of the way in, they thought zombies and Resident Evil. And so they decided, hey, Capcom did this, let's do this too, and rolled with it.
Not even a scenario writer knows what happens between Alex and Alyssa after the game. Shannon wants revenge on Alyssa because she's her adopted sister. Seriously, that's her only motive. Did Alyssa step on her favorite flower when they were little and took a death threat really seriously at the time? Did Alyssa just forget to take out the trash, forcing Shannon to do it?
Garbage day! Huh? No!
And then, you know what, if I keep going on, this video will never end, so I better stop before I twist my brain even further.
Oh, and Hero Entertainment, the same developers that brought you Monster Party for the NES, no longer exist. Yes, this game not only killed the franchise, but it also killed the company. Although, Capcom did take it up to themselves to make the Clock Tower 3. And they even made a more faithful successor to Clock Tower than Clock Tower 3, Haunting Grounds.
Clock Tower 3 isn't a bad game. In fact, it's the first Clock Tower game where you actually have direct control over your character for once. But it just doesn't feel like a survival horror game to me. I mean, to put it in perspective, just look at this cutscene. As for Haunting Ground, or Demento in Japan, it basically takes the Clock Tower formula and redoes it in a unique way that makes this one of the best survival horror games to exist. And a very overlooked title, I may add. There's also a Clock Tower movie coming out next year, as a matter of fact. And from what I understand, it's a mixture of the storylines between The Struggle Within and Clock Tower 3. I guess we'll have to see how that goes.
And thus, the game that killed the company— oh shit, a dead body!
I just wanna hug you.